Hi everyone, this is the game plan. Thank you for joining us. We are just recovering from a weekend in Nakuru. And the fact that you guys all had the day off today, life is unfair. What?
Oh my goodness.
Day offs mean nothing to people in the media, but I have to...
I know something called public people, not public holidays.
But then Nakuru, I know now why it's called Nax Vegas. Mombasa aside, well, let's just say we enjoyed. But I do have to say congratulations to 17-year-old Kelvin Kiplenge. He was the overall winner of the 11th leg of the Safaricom Golf Tour that was held at the Nakuru Golf Club over the weekend. And I think he's the second junior to win the overall competition. Which,
it's just getting younger.
It's getting younger and younger. But what
As opposed to...
older and older. As opposed to Kenyan. Guys, the Safaricom Golf Tour is all about taking golf all over the country to make sure that corporates enjoy, juniors enjoy, and the clinics happen for kids who have never touched a golf club in their life. They get the opportunity to do so. But you know what I like about, the most thing I like about the Nakuru leg?
Yeah.
One, they had the most number of juniors, 160 entries.
Yes.
Two, and we spoke to one of the coaches, one of the trainers on Saturday. Yesterday, they actually had deaf and players who can't speak.
Yeah,
but who competed in the junior tournament. That hasn't happened anywhere else in the country.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I hope I'm politically correct, but people who can't hear and people who can't speak also played in the tournament yesterday and did extremely, extremely well.
Yes.
This just shows how Safaricom is living up to their slogan, every shot is indeed an opportunity.
And the fact that younger and younger guys keep winning just shows you how much it is
how much potential we have as a country,
and
it's coming through with the Safaricom Golf Tour. This weekend, we are at the Moi Air Base in Isili. By the way, I can't wait for this one. And then, next weekend, we have Vet Lab, and then we have Royal Nairobi, and finally the final at the Vipingo Ridge on the 7th of August, where all the winners from all the legs will assemble. Safaricom Golf Tour, where every shot is an opportunity.
It's going to be big.
Now, we barely, nobody slept yesterday. Everybody watched rugby until really late. But first, I want to go over the Prince Lu Sevens, which happened in Nakuru. And yet another winner.
Another winner, and that's the beauty about where Kenyan rugby has reached. We can see that the game has really gone across the country. Getting Menengai to actually win their home, it's their home leg.
It's their home leg.
It's their home leg, and they beat Strathmore Leos, who are actually threatening to win their second one in the circuit. But it's actually good to see the way that the rugby, the sevens game is
developing.
It's developing. I love it. I think we've worked pretty well and worked really hard on the sevens version of the game. So
and the fans turned up. What? I went to the grounds. I sneaked to the grounds after golf.
But I have to mention Dennis Game and his age grade rugby very well. I loved Prince Lu because there was different sections, under 18, under 17. It was really done well. So it's good to see the young people coming up.
What it keeps showing you is we have a good 15-a-side, 7-a-side team, but there's another one coming. Consistently, there's another one coming.
Another one coming is the key thing, because that is where we feed the national team. And the national team was in action last night. Kenya Simbas in France had a really good run until the final. Although last week, they struggled against Algeria to get into the final. But unfortunately, last night, we made so many errors. And Namibia was just too strong and too clinical for us.
And I like the fact that you've used the word clinical.
Clinical.
Clinical comes from practice.
Skill development.
You make less mistakes when you keep doing something over and over again. And the reason why we're in this situation is because this team has not had the opportunity to do things over and over again. Kenny repeating school was one of the reasons why
he now has a job.
He has a job. He has repeated school for, 4-5 years? Repeatedly. But I'm just saying the fact is they're basic errors. That's the sad part. Why are they basic errors? Because you can only clear those errors when you've gone through a development program that has taught you how those errors are not acceptable. We can't be discussing dropping balls. Knocking on.
And we had very experienced players dropping balls.
Yes. But the good thing is, we're actually watching Kenya playing 15 rugby.
Again.
And technically being at the same level and making the right decisions.
Now we have one small opportunity to still qualify for the World Cup. That is by going to the repechage. But who do we have there?
We have Chile who beat the US. We've got Hong Kong in that. We've got Portugal in that. And of course, Kenya. So it's
tall order.
It's a tall order because the difficulty of the repechage is that you're getting sort of like the other best of the world. So you'd rather even have played in the Rugby Africa Cup and gotten through with that hard game in the final than going for the repechage, because repechage is round robin. It's a bit difficult.
You're playing one game after the other.
You have one after the other, and you have to win. You remember the last time we were in the same situation, we were playing Madagascar. It was pretty difficult. The other thing I wanted to talk about is that we need to change something. What I saw yesterday in the Namibia game, we are rushing. And that you can see that that's lack of experience at the highest level.
That's Sevens mentality.
Exactly. We're rushing the game. 15s is a game, it's won in the mind.
It's composed.
It's composed. And you could see that the first half, we had control of the game, but we are rushing. So
but the potential is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Good. Paulo Dera has done an amazing
I just hope
job.
the union keeps Paul there so that he can actually build the next team.
Correct.
Because we still have a chance at the repechage. If not, let's come back stronger in 4 years with a much stronger
team. And let's get
team.
transport.
We'll discuss those things in the second half when we're talking about Kenya Morans, all about whether the federation, the government, who is letting the players down.
Yeah.
That conversation is coming up next. But we have to get into our interview because this lovely young lady has been waiting. Her name is Sylvia Gathoni, a.k.a. Queen Arrow. She is an esports athlete. Yes, they are called athletes. This is a sport. And I want to get into this conversation with Sylvia. Sylvia, first of all, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you. And you, Carol?
I'm fine, and thank you so much for being patient. Now, I don't know whether to call you Sylvia or to call you Queen Arrow, because Queen Arrow is your stage name, correct?
Yeah, it's my gamer tag, so if you feel like you want to call me that, I'm more than happy to accept that.
People have to remember your name, Sylvia.
Sylvia, you play around professionally.
Yes.
Play around.
Sylvia's professional, Roy. I first encountered her about a year and 2 months ago. I interviewed her. She was just starting to break out. Sylvia, since we last spoke about a year ago, I see you in South Africa. I see you in France. Recently, you were in Guadeloupe. You were also named Forbes Top 30 Under 30. Woman. Tell me very quickly, tell us how you got into esports, because I also know you're a lawyer by profession.
Yes, embarrass us quickly.
Embarrass us.
That's too many things.
I got into esports in 2017. My first tournament was the East African Gaming Convention, which was being held here in Nairobi. I participated in the Mortal Kombat 10 tournament. I came in fourth in that particular tournament, and the competitive bug just kind of beat, and since then I've just been competing. But I no longer compete in Mortal Kombat. I now play Tekken 7, which is another fighting game. It's a game that I've been specializing in, and so far it's been a very interesting journey.
Okay. So how did you start? I mean, you're not aggressive, yeah? I just hope it's just on the game.
Depends on what you mean by aggressive. When it comes to the game, yes, I'm going
to... She'll finish you, Roy.
How did you start? How did you get into the sport? How do you get into something like that?
I've been gaming since I was like really young. My older brother and cousin just kind of got me into video games since I used to follow them around a lot. I remember playing lots of video games over the weekend and during the holidays, and I got introduced to a lot of games that way. I got introduced to Mortal Kombat, Tomb Raider, Super Mario, Contra, Tapper, Soul Calibur, Tekken, King of Fighters, just to mention some of the games that I used to play.
Does the sport pay? Do you actually get paid to play the sport?
Yes, it does. But I'm not really comfortable discussing that, particular subject. But yes, it does pay.
Okay.
I know when I first spoke to you, you were looking for sponsors, but I've seen you work with some over the last 12 months. You were in South Africa. Tell us about the different tournaments you've done recently.
So the various tournaments that have been in South Africa, Red Bull supported me so that I could fly out for Red Bull Hit the Streets.
Oh.
In France, I was invited by the French government, and also Red Bull kind of played a part in it. I went to play a show match with one of the best French players called Kenyan. She's one of the pioneers, and she's a really, really strong player. In Guadeloupe, I was also invited for the Kanoki Esports series by the Esports Federation in Guadeloupe. And honestly, these were really like eye-opening tournaments.
Yeah.
I realized that for South Africa and France, I realized that Kenya needs to improve on its tournament culture, because there's a difference between playing in just playing within your home country and now playing outside. And I realized that South Africa and France, they have that consistency in competing in tournaments. That's what makes them as strong as they are. For Guadeloupe, now this is my third time competing, and I took the lessons that I learned from South Africa and France, and I did my best. I came in 5th place in the mixed tournament, and I was the best female player.
Well done. Actually, that was just last week. But yeah, that was last week. That's why we were supposed to have this interview a week ago. Then you told me it's 2 a.m. in Guadeloupe.
So do we have a league that's constantly running in Kenya to keep you on board and keep you charged up?
Oh, sorry. You guys kind of cut off after I was finished explaining, so I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
Do we have a league in Kenya that runs, or so that you can get enough practice to be able to play in these tournaments?
There's the Tekken 254 community that I've been practicing with, and we were organizing tournaments before like COVID hit. Then we had to put them online.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we have various communities for the different kinds of games that are played. There's, for if it's Call of Duty, Apex Legends, Mortal Kombat, or Tekken, or FIFA. Yeah, it depends on the game that you're playing.
Tell us about being named Forbes Top 30 Under 30.
Yes.
Being 30 Under 30 was super affirming because it meant that Forbes recognized the impact that esports had.
Yes.
And has actually on the African region, and the potential it has if it were to be given the right resources and manpower to take us to the next level. So, yeah, it meant that I'm on the right track. That kind of pat on the back, saying, yeah, you're in the right direction. Keep going. We see you. We acknowledge you. Yeah, it was super, super affirming.
What's the management structure in Kenya? Do you have any recognition, say, from the sports ministry? Do you have? I know there's no federation. You've been recognized by Forbes? Have you been recognized by Kenya, so to speak?
No, unfortunately, other than the private sector, which I've been working in, the Ministry of Sports hasn't really recognized esports other than giving us the Esports Federation of Kenya, but they haven't done much in terms of making sure that we get what we need to thrive as a sport. But other than that, I'm not going to, I'd say, wait around for for recognition. I'm just going to do what I do best. If they recognize me, well and good.
Yeah, but it's not so much recognition as putting in some effort in developing the sport. Because here is Sylvia Gathoni. Where are the next Queen Arrows going to come from? As a country, we don't develop this sport. Sorry. That's the conversation I'd like to have at some point. But Sylvia, unfortunately, we're out of time, but it's been such a pleasure speaking to you. And we wish you all the best and all the success.
Keep doing it.
Okay, I think we've lost Sylvia. I think she can't hear us. But probably the producer can just tell us that we have wrapped. We do wish her the best. And Sylvia, we are behind you. At least here on the game plan, we recognize esports.
We recognize.
And the fact that Forbes has recognized you, top 30 under 30, it shows that you're doing something.
We know you need transport.
Yes, and here we are saying we have an unemployment problem in Kenya. There are things you can do. The one thing I did want to ask her, but she did tell me last year, was her family's reaction to, I'm not going to be a lawyer, I'm going to be an esports athlete.
Wow.
In fact, that's what I wanted to talk about. Forbes under 30. Was that under esports or was that under law?
Under esports.
Yeah,
Under esports. It's written under esports.
Wow,
but thank you so much, Sylvia. We're going to take a short break now. When we come back, we have to look at tennis. We have to look at the Morans. And, of course, those Formula One Jana. We'll see you after the break.